G'day and welcome back for more Space Engineers Survival. Last time we had the vote between the white and the yellow catwalks, and the yellow won by a fairly big margin. So, because we're going to have yellow catwalks around the place, I think that's going to give this base a bit more of an industrial feel, and that's what I'm going to go with the rest of the design. I don't have much more in the way of catwalks to add right now, and I have slightly changed the yellow. It's a closer match for the yellow you can see on the conveyors, connectors, etc. If you look at it like this, you can tell they're reasonably close, and that makes it a bit more subtle, and I think works a bit more nicely. It doesn't jump out quite so harshly, and will fit in more situations than the bright yellow. I am going to fiddle around with other colours for the base, but for now, the first thing I'd like to do is get a wall back in here. We really don't have one at the moment, so that's not my preference. And Assembler 6 has finished everything else it's going to do, so I can get it to make... We're going to need a few more girders, we'll need more construction components, and eventually I'm going to need more steel plates as well. So we need to grab a few steel plates. Going to need a few girders, a few more than that. And we'll grab some of them for now. What I think I want to do with this wall is, first off, it would be nice to be able to walk straight out here. So have a door. And if we look at the way these catwalks are, if I want to have the catwalks going all the way around the front here, which I do, and I instead bring this flat across towards where a door would be, I'm going to create a problem where if I want the door up at this level, I would need a flat piece coming straight out here, which is going to look a bit funny floating above this conduit. So instead of that, what I think we'll do is put catwalks in like this. If I grab a stair first, it'll be a stair with a left railing. No, right railing. So if we put that like that there, and then I have a corner piece on the end here, I can put the door in just here. That way this will all still sit nicely on top of the conduit. May look a little funny having stairs going down twice to it, but ultimately I think it'll look better than having a floating walkway immediately outside the door. Although I could, I suppose, put a bit of framework in underneath it, but I still think this will look better. Plus it's going to encourage me to do something more interesting with this space in here. Now if we're going to have a door here, that means we need an actual wall here, not just an edge. So let's get back to grey, and I think we could use one of these. It'll still leave that indent. Oh, let's put a solid block in here first so I can build on something. We go with one of these inverted corners and have it that way, and then on top, need to get out of the way. On top we go the other way. That'll still give us the edge we need to place the door in. Ooh, however, that may create another problem. If we have a look at our doors, I'd like to use this industrial door the same as on the other side, and if we're placing that in there, it's actually going to stick out. So that means we can't use these. We're just going to have this as a plain blank wall, which is unfortunate, but that's what we've got to do so that we don't have weird bits of door sticking out and making things look funny. And maybe instead of the windows that I was originally planning here, we might just go with half blocks, so it'll look interesting from the outside, but from the inside we'll just have our plain ceiling. We can add some lights up there to make it a bit more interesting later. I think that might end up looking a whole lot better than what I had originally planned. Now, let's get these catwalks built. We need to grind down this one to get rid of its unneeded edge. So that will be a catwalk open. And there we go. Now we've got catwalk that allows us to get out that side door and up to the tower without having to go all the way around. And it's not floating above the conduit looking odd. I'll weld up this wall so then we can have a look on the other side and see what we could add to make it look a bit more interesting. Something I did when I created this hunting cabin or whatever you want to call it, this little building, was I actually added a little detailing on the far wall from the side we're working on. When I first built this cabin, I added a little something out here. I added this piping. And this piping can actually function as a conveyor belt. Or a conveyor tubing, I should say. But I like to add little touches like those around the place to make things look a bit more interesting. And particularly with us going the industrial look, it will add a lot to that feel of things. So, I finished welding up this wall. What we might do as well is grind that out. Go with one of these. Since we're not doing the windows, this will make it a bit more interesting on the roof so we don't just have a flat surface. When people are talking about this sort of building, you'll hear the term greebling, or to greeble something. It's when you're adding extra little details to flat surfaces to make them a bit more interesting to look at. And I tend to enjoy doing that. So I dislike having flat surfaces everywhere. They're kind of dull. It's much better, I think, to do it this way. So, if we have a look in here, part of Ixter's pack are these conveyor tubes. And what we might do is grab one of these. Pop it there. Best part out of these is I don't actually need to fully finish building them for them to look interesting. So I can cheaply get a bit of extra detail and eventually later I might finish their construction. If we go with this, then maybe there. And then we can put that there. And these serve zero function other than aesthetics. But you can see that just makes that wall a little more interesting. Makes things, I don't know, just makes things look a bit more fitting with the industrial aesthetic that we're going to go for. One thing I do want to try and figure out how I can fit into the base is these pieces, these transformer box sort of things. When they're fully built, they do look like a transformer box, but you can actually access your inventory through them without them being a storage space themselves. So instead of having this cargo container in here, I want to figure out a way to get one of those boxes easily accessible and connected up to the conveyor system. Because I think that will look a whole lot nicer than what we've currently got. But it's going to mean hiding a conveyor junction somewhere in one of these walls, which isn't going to be all that easy. I may end up trying to get these conveyor tubes to go all the way in to the mountain and then be able to bring them down that way. We might be getting close to the last solar cells being built. Let's go check how many are left to be produced. If we go to assembler 5. Oh, yes! Yes, every single one is done. All right. Right now we are not actually producing anything, and that's probably wasteful, but it's going to mean our batteries are going to get a bit of extra charge built up, which is okay. While we build our last 2 solar panels for this tower. Can't believe it. Episode 15. And we've finally got it done. And the last 10 solar cells to go. I feel like I need a bottle of champagne to crack on this thing because it's finally finished. All 40 solar panels in place. Ready to produce as much power as I'm going to need for the immediate future, hopefully. We're charging. How much power are we producing? We've got our 4.8 megawatts, so we are at our maximum power input right now, which is fantastic. Not sure how I feel about this internal wall. Might have to do something different with part of it. Like these angled blocks I think might fit a bit better if we put a couple of them in there. Maybe if we go with taking these out and taking these two out. I think that might fit better in with the rest of the space that we've got in here. Could even put an extra window in here now that I've done that as well. Although, now that I say that, I'm pretty sure the pipes are directly behind that wall. There we go, I think that fits a bit better in. And this bed will eventually move, and coffee table, and I'll design some other things to have in this area. Yeah, we are making progress. What I'd like to get production started on now is all of the parts needed for another refinery once I can find it in the list. From the other assembler, what I'm going to get the pieces I need for about another 10, maybe 20 medium conveyor tubes. As the next thing I want to do is try and move all these assemblers into their final position, because then we are getting very close to having everything organized. Also, I've finally decided where I'm going to put the hangar. And I think it should end up being quite an interesting build challenge to get it to where I want to get it to. So what I want to do down here is figure out how I'm going to get the conveyor system from the assemblers through to our refineries. And I think the way we'll do that is using Eichster's system, which means we need a conveyor junction in here. Then we can place one of these blocks, one of these conveyor tube to pipes converters in there. If we place another one on our refinery, we can then hopefully run it up, around, and down along to there, which is a long way around to do things, but that's kind of what I want to do. So if we go up, there, and then it'll be one of these pieces, like that, and then it can go back down, and then down again, and then use one of these bits, this corner. Yeah, this is working. I think we'll actually get there. Sometimes I get very excited trying to build these pipes and I end up stuffing them up and I can't actually get where I'm trying to get to. There we go, and last piece. So that will actually connect the two conveyor systems up without having to have anything that will block our walking, with more pipes around the place, which always makes things feel more industrial to me. And that'll make me very happy, because this will look good while also functioning. So I'll get this all welded up, and then we'll start moving our assembler down here. So it would appear I have run out of iron once more, so it's time to get the ugly duckling out and grab a few more runs of iron. One thing I did last time, because I've finally got enough power, is I actually told the ugly duckling to recharge its battery, and as you can see, it has full power. So that means we should be able to make a few runs. I do need to make sure I take it off recharge before I disconnect. Let's grab our remote control. What I'm going to do is create a block group called 0. Actually, let's call it that. Now, anytime I jump in, it's going to appear at the top of the list. So I can just quickly control it. Still not as good as if we could have it as a G menu item on the hotbar of the seat, but it'll do for now. Having power. It's a wonderful, brave new world for us. So I'm going to have to make probably 2 iron runs at least for what I'm planning. Maybe 3. In the last video I was talking about potentially building some sort of truck to bring the mining vehicle down to the mines and take it back up. And the possibility of using something like that to increase our efficiency. It could also be used as a storage vehicle. I've decided I'm not going to do that until we've upgraded the ugly duckling, since I'll need that vehicle to be able to support the new mining vehicle rather than having to upgrade it as well, which seemed like a lot of hard work for something I don't really need just yet. But that is still definitely in the plans, just not right now. And that is a very tight hole I'm in. Looking at the solar panels from a distance, I'm actually quite happy with how this has turned out. The yellow at a great distance is quite subtle, but it does pop out just a bit. The panels don't look too ridiculously oversized. I think the colors are working out quite nicely. It stands out a little bit from the rock, but not too much. Definitely fits the industrial feel that I'm going for at the moment. And we should have enough iron for a little while now, as that is 3 full loads. Will hopefully be enough to get another refinery finished entirely. So let's go back down in our hole. And when we were last down in the hole, I'd just finished off building these conveyor systems. And I noticed something that worries me, that these might not actually function properly anymore. If you jumped in here, you used to be able to drag stuff from the main inventory into your own personal one, and I can't do that anymore. So I'm wondering if these are still working, and the only way for me to test that is to build something on the other end here, and I may as well build the assembler. So that assembler's finished off, and let's see if we can access our other inventories through it. Well, we can get that, so that's good. And yes, alright. We can access things. Phew, that was a bit of a worry. So this will work, I just won't be able to use one of these like I'd planned to back at the start of the base. I'm instead going to actually have to have a complete small cargo container so that I can access the inventory and put it into my personal one. Which is unfortunate, but at least it's still working, so I can use these pipes around the place to make things look even more industrial, which I like. Now that that assembler's done, may as well get it to make its own parts for the power efficiency modules. And we've got our first permanently positioned assembler. Yeah! We've just got to get this one done. I'm going to go up and grind down one of the current ones in order to get the second one finished. So we'll jump ahead to when that is finished. And we've got our assemblers moved. Yeah, now I can grind down the other one, and we'll still have 2 fully upgraded assemblers, and they'll be in the final position. And we'll have a mostly clear hallway. Look at this. We can walk straight through. Ah, it's so nice. Ugh. About time I got around to doing that. Let's grind down this other sucker and order up a few bits. Oh, wait, it's part of the conveyor system. Dang it! Oh, might as well leave it for now. I can use it for faster production if I need anything time consuming. What I will do is I'm going to order up another 2 large grid batteries so that we can add 2 more batteries to the base. And what else do we want at the moment? We're going to want a lot of steel plates, and since I cancelled the refinery by destroying that other assembler, let's order up another one. We'll put our steel plates at the end. Now for this refinery, I'm going to do something that was suggested to me in the comments, which I think is quite a good idea, particularly given the way I've planned on setting out these refineries. To get our third one, I'm going to dig out a bit of space for it, obviously. And then once we've got this floor down, I'm going to place the new refinery, and then, given that there's 2 blocks gap between them, I might be able to, or I should be able to, place a welder down. And when I build it, it will automatically build the whole refinery without me having to shuttle all of the components back and forth. So we've got enough space in the roof. We've got a floor all laid out. We'll place down our refinery. We'll place down our usual 2 power efficiency. No, not like that. Ah, auto rotates on. Evil thing. Go away. There we go. Place our 2 yield. Then, what we're going to do is we're going to get a welder. Now, hopefully we'll be able to fit a welder in here. This welder should be able to do the job of building that entire refinery without me doing a single trip. And there we go. Let's turn it on. And it's going to keep welding with whatever parts it's got. It'll do the steel plates on the floor as well. That's okay. It should do those yield modules as well. I just have to make sure I stay well and truly clear of the welding head, otherwise it is going to kill me. But this is a much quicker way, and I'm glad someone suggested it to me, particularly as it works with the pattern that I've got here. As you can see, the refinery's actually got all of its parts already, and that was done so much faster. Let's grind this thing down. Now, all I need to do is weld up these remaining pieces and the conveyor system on top. I'll be able to use that technique for every single refinery we add to this area. Oh, this is going so well. Definitely need to have a look at how we're going to do our garage now. So we've got all our refineries in here. We've got our server room in there. We'll have storage around there. We'll have living quarters off the side of this corridor. And what I want to do to create a hangar is actually build it down here. What I'm thinking I could do is build a bit of a bridge out from this spot about here, going out over here, over this little ditch, and then dig into the mountain here. It'll create the hangar and garage on a lower level than the rest of the base. So we'll need to have a lift in order to get down there, which could be fun to build. And I think if we tried to build any sort of hangar up here, I'd struggle to get the scale feeling right. Any hangar entrance is going to need to be quite large, and it'll be larger than this entrance building. And if I do that, the entrance building will look small and poxy, and then I'll have to upgrade it. Whereas I kind of like the size and scale of things that as they appear here now. It's going to be a big building effort, and I'm definitely going to be using the ugly duckling to drill out some of the space in there. But that's my plan for the hangar. Hopefully, we'll be close to getting all of the necessary parts around here done so that I can get onto that relatively soon. So the server room's going to gain another 2 batteries, and that means drilling out a bit more space. But I need to be careful because I am getting relatively close to the outside here. I don't want to end up accidentally popping through the wall, so instead of building more batteries on this side, I might build the next 2 on this side. Once the stones go away so that I can place the blocks. There we go. And place them with the same orientation as the other side. 1 and 2. And now to build them. Many trips. And we got a 3rd battery on the base. Come back and build the 4th one in a little while. Let's just check to see that our display has updated. And it appears not to have. Let's check this out. We go down to our programmable block. Still says it's running. Oh, I know why it hasn't updated. Because I haven't got this string in the name. So let's pop that in the name. We'll pop it in this one's name as well, so that when it's finished it'll automatically update. And there we go! We can see the status of our 4 batteries. 1 incomplete, 1 very low charge, the other 2 getting charge. Maybe a better way of doing the cargo container would be to put it down this end of the hallway. Leave this all open and not put a second door in. And put it in here. That might work a lot better. So we could grind this out. Oh, I think I do have the idea now. So we'll grind these 2 out. And that'll be a complete block. That'll be a complete block. Alright. So if instead of having the cargo container there, I place a conveyor here, another conveyor junction here, then we place our small cargo container on this block. So if we put our cargo container in there, and then we could place a sloped block like that, another full piece like that, and while it makes this bit of the corridor a bit asymmetrical, I can just move the battery status display to where... Why don't I just move it down for the time being? So we'll grab our LCD panel 4, which is going to be renamed to this one. Then we can get rid of this one. And place our final piece. Oops, wrong one. Like that. And I'll just briefly start our map on this side, even though I do intend to make this map a lot bigger. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy everything from there. Paste it in there and show text on screen with monospace and 0.1. There we go. Map moved, so I can grind down this display. Get rid of that block there. I'm gonna have to tone down the brightness on that a bit, I think. I'm gonna rename these to CC. And this will be front access. Now, if I want to find it, all I have to do is type CC and it'll be the only one that shows up. Let's get rid of this other one. Move everything across. Then I can grind it down. And yes, even better. If I do a little bit of something special, we can grab a conveyor junction, pop it there. We can then get our things from Ikester's pack and should be able to... How am I going to do this? If I need to join up that way to that way, how might we be able to do that? I think, if I use one of these ones instead over here, we should be able to get those pipes lined up. The trouble with having the pipes how I was just before is that I wouldn't be able to keep them flat against the roof, and that would stop us from doing what we need to do. Now, we can do this, this, 2 straight pieces, and we're done. This won't work once I get the displays in because it's going to take up their space, but it'll be functional until then. Oh yeah. Alright, how does that look? Oh, I'm happy with that. That'll definitely work for the time being. The displays are in a reasonable location. I'm not so happy about the map, but we're going to be rearranging this eventually anyway. But for now, that looks quite nice. I could even actually... Let's do this. Let's grab everything, copy. Let's grind this sucker down. Oop, too far. Let's put the map up on this side. Have all of the panels together for the moment. Paste. Now, let's make the color 200, 200, 200, which will make it just a bit less bright. We'll figure out what the balance of that is properly later, but for now, that looks better. We've got our pipes in the ceiling leading up to the connector. We can walk in and out of both sides of the base onto the catwalks. Catwalks are the chosen color. Ah, yeah. Then when we walk through here, then we come into the big open corridor. I am pretty happy with this design now. Well, today's been quite productive, I think. And each day seems to be getting better and better in that regard. Having chosen our colour for our catwalks, we've picked that and we've built that. We've now got the front of the base looking a bit more complete. Even though these pipes are probably temporary, that connector is functional for the time being. We've got our cargo container at the front of our base that we can access so we can get things into our inventory relatively easily. We've moved our assemblers down into the refinery, well, into their final position off the side of the refinery room. We've gotten a third refinery completed, and we've even added an extra battery to the base after having finished the solar panels finally. What have I done there? Well, that's not how that's supposed to be. That should be complete blocks. There we go. The main thing left to do is for me to fiddle with some colours on the base. And get on to building that garage, which should end up working reasonably well all the way down there, hidden in the side of the mountain. There's that and plenty more to come. So, I'll see you then. Complete solar panels. Woo!